Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, Say What's Real TV. This review is for Tyler Perry's Sistas, Season 7, Episode 14, All for the D. So we open up the episode exactly where we left off last week with Gary jumping into Jordan's car. Jordan is no Columbo. He didn't even have the doors locked. He's on the phone with Andy. We don't know what happened to that particular call. But at any rate, Gary was like, look, you got a lot of balls following me this late at night all by yourself. You must not know about me. So Jordan pretended to have a little battery in his back like he was unfazed and asked Gary where Penelope was. Gary tells him, I'm looking for the B too, as if he doesn't already know where she is. Gary tries to assure him that he would not hurt his unborn child because his succession is important to him. So Jordan, he pretty much got fed up with Gary and his antics and told him to get out of his car. And Gary had to remind him that he was on his turf sneaking and creeping, trying to be a fake Columbo. So Jordan goes and yanks Gary up out the back seat, and Gary is laughing, talking about, look, you win. So then Gary takes the opportunity to start planting little seeds into Jordan's head about Andy, saying she probably knows exactly where Penelope is, how Andy is nothing but drama and chaos, and that's the reason he left her, and the fact that she kept it a secret that her and Penelope had this mission going on. And then Gary had to let him know if he ever followed him again, he would make sure that he was the one that they were going to be looking for next. Jordan let Gary know that he was not afraid of him. Gary wasn't convinced. I wasn't convinced. But hey, prove us wrong, Jordan. And then for some odd reason, we get Hudson coming out of the darkness asking to go after Jordan. Gary tells him no, and the two of them walk off into the darkness as if they're Crockett and Tubbs, as if they're the older version of Tyreek and Braden or something. So now it's the next morning. We go over there to Jordan's house, and Andy comes down fully dressed, ready to go to work. We find out that when Jordan left Gary, he came home, didn't go to bed, didn't take a bath, didn't do anything. He just been up and pacing all night. So Andy, she tried to show him some concern, but Jordan didn't really want to be bothered or hear all of that. This is where we see that he allowed Gary to get into his head a little bit, and he questioned Andy why she kept it a secret about what her and Penelope had going on. So Andy tells him she wanted to respect Penelope's wishes and try to protect him as well with his campaign going on, but Jordan was like, he didn't give a damn about that, and straight up asked her, does she know where Penelope is? So that left Andy shocked and appalled, but Jordan, he was pretty much tired of talking. Andy tried to get a goodbye kiss. He slightly and politely turned his head on her. I was like, ooh, child. So we go over there to the salon, and Pam lets Karen know that she thought about the situation with Aaron investing into her company, and she wanted to make sure that it was okay with Karen and that Karen was not going to hold a grudge against her. Karen reassures her that she doesn't have a problem with it as long as it's Aaron's money, she'll support it, and that she does not hold grudges. But Pam had to remind her, yes, you do, ma'am, yes, you do. Your grudge list is long as hell, longer than a CVS receipt. And Karen quickly remembers that the people on her said grudge list deserves to be there. So then we get Aaron popping up as usual, this time bearing gifts. Him and Pam, they exchange a few words about the investment, and Pam asks him, oh, you got gifts. Are you trying to be the godfather? Aaron looks at her like, what the hell do you mean? I'm the pappy. He didn't say that, but that's how he was looking. He looks at Karen looking in the sky, looking at the floor, looking all around. So she quickly tells Aaron, let's go talk in her office because she has yet to tell Pam the truth. So the two of them make it back to Karen's office, and Karen is asking him, like, what is all of this? So he tells her everything that he bought. And she's like, well, why did you bring it to the salon? So Aaron says he thought that everyone knew by now. And I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? Her salon is not a daycare. Call her at night when she's home, because we know you have a problem with calling because you just like to pop up. That way, Karen does not have to now take all this stuff, load it up in the car, take it out the car, and load it up the steps to get into the house with it. Like, make it make sense, Aaron. Make it make sense. What is really given is Aaron is saying that he is no longer going to be silenced, and everybody and a mammy is going to know he is the pappy, okay? And I feel like we may get some of that season 1 Aaron attitude back. Did y'all peep how when he walked in the salon, Pam said, hey, sugar daddy? He said, don't call me that. Now, any other time, Pam could say any and everything to this man, and all he want to do is smirk and smile and laugh it off because he know that's how Pam play with him. But apparently, he's not in player mode anymore. He is in daddy mode, and everybody's gonna know it. So Karen has to let him know, look, everybody knows that I'm pregnant with twins. They just don't know that you're one of the fathers. So Aaron, he reassures her what we've already known since season 5, that he's going to be there for her and her kids all the way through. And then he tells her about a childbirthing class, and she wants to know why. Like, can't they just look that up on the internet? And I'm like, really, Karen? Really? But Aaron, he tells her it's important to be informed and gives her all the benefits of taking this class. So he then tells Karen that he is honored to be one of the fathers, and as he's saying all of this, lo and behold, standing in the doorway is Pam, taking it all in, talking about, well, I be damned. Now Pam knows the truth. So we go over there to the bank where Maurice is doing absolutely nothing but flying paper planes in front of the customers while they're being waited on. Like, unbelievable. So Sabrina, she comes out of the office. Apparently she's been in there all day. She says she was busy. Maurice says, well, hopefully you were in there looking at the Guinness Book of World Records. And Sabrina was like, what for? And he says, because Karen has to be a new entry with all them baby daddies and only one cat. So this is the second time that we have been made aware that Sabrina is over there telling Maurice all of Karen's personal business. Quiet as it's kept, I would not tell Maurice anybody's business because he is the type that will blurt something out too. But I think that Sabrina feels like Karen and Maurice don't run in the same circles. That way Karen will never find out. But for them to keep throwing that in our face that she's talking to him like that, Karen may just find out that Sabrina is not as sweet and innocent as she portrays herself to be. So they get into talking about Karen and her 2 baby daddies and her 2 child support checks. And Maurice asks Sabrina, has she found a sperm donor yet? Sabrina tells him not yet, and then a bank customer happens to walk by and Maurice starts soliciting the man to be her potential sperm donor. So we head over there to the airport. Tony is going up to Danny saying that he overreacted the day before. He's handing her this single rose and tells her that it was unfair for him to think that she would go the extra mile to make sure that her place was kid-friendly. Sir, that's not an apology and you're low-key being shady. So Danny, she caught the shade and told him to go find him a woman that will go the extra mile and have the time to make sure it's kid-friendly. He claims he's trying to apologize. She told him, I'm trying to work. So he then told her to stop by his office so they could finish talking if she wanted to. And she basically brushed him off. But we know that the only thing they ever do in Tony's office is hunch on the clock. So he begged her to take his single rose as his apology, and she told him next time make it a dozen and not out of the paint bucket, and politely gave it to the next customer in her line. So we head over there to the law firm. Fatima and Andy, they're in the conference room. Fatima is trying to calm her nerves because she's getting ready to receive her first exam grades from law school, and she's quite nervous. Andy told her she got it and admitted to Fatima that she decided she is going to testify against Gary. So Fatima, she gets the notification, looks at her grade, and it is a big fat D. The professor also left her a little note letting her know that he expected more from her. So of course Fatima is upset, but that doesn't stop Hayden, just like clockwork, coming to antagonize the both of them, telling them they look like 2 bitter women experiencing a great loss. But little does he know, he has his own troubles. So Hayden, he goes back to his office and calls Tamara. Apparently he's been calling her all day and she hasn't been picking up, so he wants to know where she's been. She says she's been doing some cleaning and online shopping, and he wants to make sure she's using her own credit card. So as these two continue their conversation, the camera pans into Tamara's house and we see Gary sitting there while she's on the phone, and he tells her, wrap that ish up. I'm like, oh my. So Hayden asked her who was that, and she claimed it was the TV. I'm like, Hayden, don't be no fool. Leave work and go home like right now. So Tamara, she played it off and asked him about when he's coming home and should she cook dinner and all of that. He told her don't worry about it because he was going to be working late. So I thought he peeped game that she was over there being slicker than Rick, and he had plans to pop up anyway, because you can tell how he was looking that her telling him that it was a TV was not sitting right in his spirit. So when Tamara gets off the phone with Hayden, she's basically looking at Gary like, Really? Like, why would you do that? He told her he didn't come there to listen to her cap with Hayden about their fake relationship, and she said it's not fake. So he says to her, if it's not fake, why am I getting ready to hunt you in the man's bedroom? She says that's not going to happen. Have a little respect. Gary was like, tuh. You invited me here to smash you real quick in this man's house. The respect has been sailed. Let's go. Let's get it popping. And he walks in the bedroom, and then she followed behind him like a little puppy dog. I'm like, girl, Tamara, really? So we head over there to Jordan's house, and he's in the middle of a Zoom meeting. When he finishes, Ethan sits down next to him, and they start talking, and Ethan is trying to see where his head's at. You know, do he want to talk about it? Jordan told him no, he doesn't, but what he could do for him is get some information on Hudson. He doesn't have a last name, but he has a photo that he'll send him. So Ethan, he asked him what was the reason, and Jordan told him, I don't want to say right now. Now, we know why Ethan wants to know what the reason is, because he works for Hudson and Gary. So he's probably thinking that Jordan is on to his ass, because now he's shifting and fidgeting and all of that. And Jordan notices that now he's uncomfortable. So he asked him, are you all right with doing all of that? And Ethan, not even looking in his face, was like, yeah, sure. And he gets up and he walks off. It's hard to tell if Jordan really in the back of his mind is able to put two and two together, but I think he'll keep his good eye on the situation, hopefully, but we'll see. And then side note, are we going to find out what Claire told Raymond/Jordan last week? Because they always throw little stuff at us in a particular episode, and we'll never hear about it again. So Karen, she calls Sabrina while she's at work to check up on her to see how she's doing. And in the midst of the conversation, Sabrina lets it slip that she knows about the two baby daddy situation. So Karen was like, what did you say? And Sabrina said, huh? I'm like, girl, you are caught. If you can, you can hear. So she then tells Karen that she was going to find out anyway. And Karen was like, look, when I was ready to tell you. So she's automatically upset with Danny. But then Sabrina says, and Andy also knows. So my thing is with Sabrina, we already know that Fatima told Andy, and that's how she knows. But how does Sabrina know that Andy knows? So basically all the girls have been gossiping about it off camera and not really checking on Karen. So Sabrina doesn't think it's a big deal, but Karen says that it is because she specifically asked Danny not to say anything, and she just had to threaten Pam not to say anything. So now Sabrina is in her feelings because she wants to know how is it that Pam found out before her. So Karen, she starts going off on Danny, and Sabrina does what she does best. She basically is saying to Karen that Danny cares about you, this and that and the other. It's the same thing she does when Danny has a problem with Karen. She throws out there, well, you know, that's just her hormones, it's just her pregnancy, or that's just how they are, blah, blah, blah. But then she tells Karen, whatever you guys do, just make sure you don't tell her that I slipped up. I'm like, girl, you've been slipping up all day. Tell Karen how you told Maurice. That's what you do. I just don't know what kind of bank this is. Sabrina is a branch manager in the middle of the bank in the lobby full of customers on her cell phone on a personal call. Where they do that at? So we go over there to Zach and Fatima's, and Zach is at the table with Michael. They're playing. Fatima comes down to join them, and, you know, she's making sure that everything got taken care of. She asks Zach, did Michael have a bath? And he says, I kind of left that for you to do. I'm like, what? So Fatima says she kind of figured that. I guess that's what he does all the time. But he asks her about her day, and she tells him that she got her first grade back from law school and that she got a D. And Zach's reaction was like, so, okay, Ann. He also asked that he used to be the D king in high school and he's just not talking grades. And I'm like, Zach, nobody cares. Nobody wants to hear that when they just got a failing grade in law school. So Zach tells her, well, just do better on the next one. And she's telling him, like, I barely have time to study because I have all these different things to do once I get home. Just like he just told her he left the bathing of Michael for her to do. But he claims he got her. Don't let him and Michael trip her up. So then he offers to bathe Michael, and then Fatima says she doesn't trust his bathing. And he says, well, what's wrong with it? I only used the dishwashing liquid one time. Now, Fatima, what you're going to have to start doing is stop trying to make everybody else's life picture perfect and easy for them. Zach is not doing anything all day. Zach can handle these responsibilities. Michael is his child. Stressing yourself out trying to make sure he's good, that Zach is good, and you over here getting D's on your exam. Now, if he's offering to bathe the child, let him bathe his child. If you want him to do it a certain way, just teach him. Maybe he doesn't know. But a little dishwashing liquid, he's still breathing. When he was over there with his mama, he wasn't even getting the bath. So let Zach handle his daddy duties while you take your butt over there and study. Because if you leave Zach today or tomorrow, Zach needs to know how to take care of his kids, period. So all of a sudden, Fatima sees her $5,000 bag on the floor. Apparently, Michael thought he was Leonardo da Vinci painting the Mona Lisa because it was all marked up. We see Michael at the table shaking his head and he over there rolling. I mean rolling. Zach is like, he said he didn't do it, but I'll get it out with dishwashing liquid. And Fatima's like, dishwashing liquid? So now Fatima is hotter than fish grease, okay? She tells Zach that she needs a minute and do not follow her, and she leaves. Michael's still laughing. So we go over there to Danny's, and she's having this conference call with Krisha in their therapy session, talking about Tony, his apology, his kids. And truth be told, I would really like to hear more about Danny when she's in these therapy sessions, as far as like maybe her past, her family, her mom, her dad, something other than Tony and his kids. But their session gets interrupted by a knock on the door. So, she hangs up with Krisha. She goes to the door, and we already know that it's Karen. So Karen, she brushes her way in, already upset. She's not speaking. She doesn't have time for the small talk. So Karen asks her, does she hate her all of a sudden? And Danny doesn't know what's going on because Sabrina didn't even call or warn her or whatever. So Karen got to the point and told her, look, I specifically asked you not to talk about the twins or tell anybody, and you told Sabrina. So in this moment, I feel like Danny was totally dismissive of what Karen was saying. Even though they're not on the best of terms, Karen specifically did ask her not to say anything, because my thing is, Karen, you should have never allowed Danny a front row seat to your information in the first place. When Danny came to your house, you should not have even let her in, considering you guys just had a big brouhaha the day before, whenever that was, at the juice bar. That's why she claimed she was coming to apologize. But you gave her the information when you should not have done that in the first place. But Danny, she let you in on the information, asked you not to tell, and then you did it anyway. My thing is, you knew you were wrong because you begged Sabrina when she left your house not to say anything about it. You tried to come up with charades because you said you were trying to be a good friend. And considering the fact that you just got off a call with Krisha, your therapist, about apologies, you would take heed to what she was saying and take accountability in this particular moment. Because, Danny, you were wrong in this particular situation, regardless of how rocky your relationship is at this moment. So Karen tells her not only did she share her information with Sabrina, she convinced Zach to get this DNA test. So is that the real reason you're mad? Because even at Fuel, she brought up the fact that Danny allowed Zach to live with her. It's always something surrounding Zach. So this was the perfect time for us to find out, where did the disconnect start between Karen and Danny? There were no other ladies there to put a battery in someone's back. There was nobody to be pacifying and trying to baby nobody else. This was the perfect time. So Karen, she throws out there that she doesn't know how they got there, but their relationship has changed, and she says that Danny has changed. Danny says nothing changed about her except her relationship status and her hair color. And at this point, I think Danny just really don't give a damn. But Karen told Danny to stay out of her business, and Danny said that's kind of hard because we are still in the same circle. And just like at Fuel, Karen made it seem like she was cutting people off. So she leaves and slams the door, and Danny has this delayed reaction talking about, oh, I just heard things. I fight pregnant bees. And she goes to the door and yells that out. I'm like, Danny, you know you are not getting ready to fight Karen. Please stop.
If you're my friend, act like my friend. But if you a hater, yeah, stay the hell away from me.
We see Fatima meeting Angela down to the bar, seeking advice for all the stuff she has going on. So she tells her about the failing grade in school and how she's working all day and coming home and feels like she's working all night. She barely has time to study. When she tries, she's falling asleep. And Angela basically told her, look, I know you love Zach. I want to be supportive, but you need to take time for yourself. So Angela reminds her not to blow getting into this law school. So she tells her she's going to help her out because she knows a friend that has a nanny agency. So Fatima was automatically like, absolutely not. She doesn't want some little young tenderoni running around the house because we know how Zach is, right? So Fatima, she considers it as long as it's like a church auntie, older lady, and her heel cannot be more than an inch. So we go back over there to Hayden's house, and Tamara, she's on her phone snickering and giggling. I don't know if Gary is texting her or what's going on, but she is all in her phone. Hayden comes home from work, and he says, don't make me stop you from being on your phone. And she plays it off talking about she was on social media. So she hides the phone and, puts it under the pillow or whatever. So he's telling her about his day. All of a sudden, he starts smelling woodsy musk, cedar type smell, and basically it was Gary's cologne that's probably all over Tamara and all over their house, right? And she plays it off and says it's her new perfume and it's unisex. He didn't like that one for her. He said it was a little too manly. But my thing is, Tamara, why do you still have on the same negligee nighty type outfit that you had on when Gary was there? Did you not go and bathe your ass? Did you not try to go get it back tight and right for your husband? I mean, girl, come on. Did you even change the sheets where you and Gary were in there frolicking around? Did you light some candles? Why didn't you light candles? Did you spray some Febreze or Lysol anywhere? Like, girl, you in here playing on your phone. Why? So Hayden, he tells her he's been thinking about her all day, really wanting to be in this freaky mood, I guess, wanting to do some things. And she's over there trying to hide her phone. So he notices and he says, why are you trying to hide it? You don't want me to see the notifications. So she's trying to make it seem like that's not what she was doing. So Hayden, he catches a little attitude. So she's like, no, I'm not doing that anymore or whatever. And he said, look, if you still out here doing all this city girl stuff, he is not with it. But she convinces him that she's not doing that. So she climbs her little frowsy tail on top of Hayden and tells him, let me show you just how thankful I am for you giving me a second chance. And then she ends up giving him some sloppy toppy. So we go over there to Sabrina's house where Rich is over there beating the brakes off of her. So they do their thing and they're finished. She goes and gets in the shower and he is now frantically looking for a condom. Now, if you wear magnums, I didn't know magnums easily come off. So did you guys take the condom off and you thought it was at the end of the bed and when you looked it wasn't? Or did it slip off? Because I'm confused at that part. So he finds the condom on the floor and then he says, I wish I had some hot sauce. And we know that a couple of years back, there was this big thing in the blogs where Drake put hot sauce in the condom to kill the sperm. So, the little groupies wouldn't be trying to get pregnant from him. But we know the writing is already on the wall. Sabrina will be getting pregnant because she is extremely fertile right now with all these shots she's been taking. And it is what it is. So it's the next morning and Karen has called Sabrina and Pam to the salon because she wanted to ask the two of them, would they be willing to plan her baby shower for her? And of course, both of them agreed. So Karen tells them that she doesn't want anything over the top. She just wants something simple with close friends and says she doesn't want any drama, which further lets me know there's going to be drama. So I'm really hoping this is not going to be one of those who's invited, who's not invited, people want to show up anyway type thing, like the whole fuel thing. Like we've already been there, done that. We don't need to do it anymore. If you're not invited, just don't go. We're tired of that. So we go back over there to Hayden's house and it's the next morning and Tamara is calling Gary. Apparently she has caught feelings. So Gary basically had to put her in her place like, we don't need to do the whole follow-up calling thing. Like we hunched and that's it. That's all that it's going to be. She says that she thought that he was low-key feeling her. And he was like, why? Because I ate your worn out coochie? I'm like, oh my God. Gary and that mouth is ruthless. You hear me? When I tell you he went in on Tamara, he went in. And he left her with her little feelings hurt. He ended up calling her a 304 in the midst of all of that, so they hung up. So now that she's in her feelings, she's going through her phone talking about one quick edit and your life can be ruined. So I'm guessing the pen that she recorded them on back in the hotel, maybe she's going to do something with the footage and send it somewhere. I don't know if she's going to try to say he did something to her, but he does have proof that you guys have been sending text messages back and forth. So I'm not quite sure how that's going to work in Tamara's favor, but we'll see. So we go over there to Jordan's house and he has Tony and Rich over there. Ethan is over in the corner basically taking it all in, pretending like he's working hard, but hardly working. Jordan, he's still trying to get some type of information on Penelope, but he's not having any luck. Tony talks about Danny, saying that she's mad at him because of the whole situation with Brianna and the handcuffs. And Rich, for the 11th time, says that is just why I'm not having kids. Like, Rich, that is exactly why you're going to have kids, because you keep saying that. So he tells them what happened the other night with Sabrina, and he says that the condom slipped off. So I guess that's what happened. And he couldn't find it, and he thought she was trying to trap him. And they just tried to really reassure him that Sabrina's not that type of person. And I just feel like, Rich, if you are that scared of getting Sabrina pregnant, you need to stop having sex with Sabrina, period. So Jordan instantly annoyed me because he gets up and he tells Ethan that they're getting ready to go to the gym, and he asks him to hold down the fort. Like, why would you leave Ethan in your house while you're not there? Like, really? Who does that? And the next thing you know, Ethan jumps on the phone quicker than a heartbeat and is talking to Hudson, and he's trying to advise him where to plant this bug, telling him to look for picture frames or anything like that. So of course he goes and pick up the one with Andy and Jordan on it, and the minute he has it good and in his hand, Jordan walks back in the door like, what the hell are you doing? And the episode ends there. Child, sometimes I feel like Jordan just is slow as some oxtails in a crock pot. I mean, who leaves somebody in their house like that? I'm really thinking now that this whole Rich and Sabrina thing is being dragged out a little too long. Now we gotta bring up Calvin being a sperm donor and all of that. Like, we don't have time for that. And I cannot wait for Gary and Tamara to get caught. This particular episode was written by Kourtney Richard. Drop down in the comments. Let me know what you thought about the episode. Let's talk about it. As always, you guys, thanks for all of the support. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.